I don't know much about Nietzsche. I heard he's kind of an ass, but I don't know. Anyway, so I kind of worry about, I don't worry about the religious folk who really get into the Mashiach and the coming of a Messiah of sorts, either for the first time or second time or third time, whatever. It doesn't matter to me. And I think effectively it doesn't really matter. But I just think that it's just not likely, because and let's say you do find a Messiah, and some people have done it even within certain groups of Judaism, certain sects. There is sorry about the ears. Yeah, within certain sects, particularly one sect of Jewish believers, that there was essentially a Messiah figure, and for that reason, I was actually taught the really cool rabbi who did a lot of, he helped me just a lot. He was my primary teacher during my conversion, throughout my learning process. He was actually of this crew, and this crew particularly believed in this figure, and he was a cool rabbi. He was a rabbi that they really appreciated, and he embodied in many ways what they expected of a Messiah or a Mashiach figure. And that makes a lot of sense. I mean, you see a figure who lives up to what your expectations are, and it just makes sense to call a spade a spade. You know, I'm not getting after him for calling a spade a spade. You know, they've come up, they've gotten a lot of flack from their fellow Jews. Though they are hardcore and very orthodox, they've actually caught flack from less orthodox Jews, even. For their belief in this one guy as a Messiah, and they would never do that. And I think, you know, it kind of underscores perhaps the idea that we won't ever be able to really pick a Messiah that people even of the same religion will believe in, much less the world over. And I think that is one of the main reasons I really don't pay much mind to the Messiah idea. Jesus, I think, was probably a cool dude. I wouldn't be surprised if he existed at all. I would not be surprised if he were a little pissed off that people have turned him into something that perhaps he wouldn't want to be, and I don't mean to presume for him. Although it does say something about my own perceptions of Jesus but in relation to God, because I'm very careful not to presume certain things that I feel are directly related to God. And for some reason, I am able in my head, I'm just picking it up now, excuse me, I'm able to kind of very much separate what the Mashiach is and what God is. I don't see, you know, because growing up Christian, you know, the idea is that Jesus is the human embodiment of the celestial God. And, okay, hey, rock that out. I have always, since I was a youngster, found a difficult time of having that make sense. That's really rough on my brain, and I don't think I ever got it. I don't think I ever was able to process that. Kind of like eternity. You're like, wait, you know, and it's not because of the Holy Spirit, because I know a lot of people get thrown off by the Holy Spirit part, because you have the not trifecta, what do you call it? The Trinity. You have the Trinity, and you have the three factors that are essentially God in different forms. And you know, some people who don't believe in Christianity think that the Christians are way off base for having this. No, we all believe that God comes in a number of ways. You know, people get after the Native Americans for being kind of earth worshippers, when really, I mean, this is probably the best evidence we have of God's existence. So you can't knock it. You know, it comes in a number, you can, I wouldn't, I don't. It comes in a number of forms and fashions. And so I think I applaud anyone who's trying to reach out. And I think that's why religion is ultimately very important. And I respect it more now than ever. It is mankind's effort to make connections to something it can never understand fully, if at all. And that's fantastic. I think it's the effort that really makes a big difference. It has a number of social impacts that really determine a number of things well beyond the scope, really, of worship to a higher being. I mean, You know, segregated seating, not shaking hands with certain people, not watching certain television programs, not listening to certain forms of music, voting for certain people and not voting for others. I mean, those are not worship-oriented ideals, in my opinion. I understand how they seem to many people in line with perhaps their understanding of God's vision, and rock that out. But that's a presupposition that I'm not going to act on. I think the greatest thing we were given as human beings is free will. You can say that's from God or not from God. The point is you have choice. You make a choice even if you offer your choices up for others to make for you. That is your choice. I see life as nothing but a series of decisions. I used to have a rather pessimistic, let me make sure I'm recording. I don't know if you guys are out. Yeah. I used to consider life, I used to have a very pessimistic view of life, and I used to consider it basically you by your lonesome on a tennis court. And the circumstances that are life's daily dealings would be shipped to you in the form of a speedy tennis ball flying out of those tennis ball machines, you know what I'm saying? And you didn't have a choice. There you are, you got your net, you got your racket, so you're okay. And you don't have an option. Stuff is flying at you. You know, they're flying at you, the only options you have is where to put them on the court. That's your only option. That used to really peeve me. That used to really upset me, and I used to feel, I was really resentful that I even had to play tennis. I'm like, I'm not even a tennis guy. Why do I have to be hitting balls on a tennis court? That sucks. You know, and it's a pessimistic view of what I still consider to be the case, which is just a series of decisions. Life is a series of decisions. You have no choice but choice alone. That's it. And enjoy it. You know, you have options. And that's, I think, the thing that people forget about choice is you always have an option. I know that when I was young, my dad said, remember, you don't have to do anything. You know, as a youngster, I was like, that means I don't have to do my chores. You know, I don't have to clean my room. Sweet, no school. And, you know, he explained that, well, essentially not, but there are negative impacts that will get you. And so, because I, as your father, don't want, and your mom as well, don't want these things to negatively impact you later, yeah, you got to go to school. And of course, I understood that and I knew it. But, you know, it's true. As I get older, the more I appreciate the nuance of really saying and believing and knowing that you don't have to do anything. You get to do things. And it's a choice. Everything is a choice. And I say this from having spent years feeling rather hopeless and lost in myself. And it wasn't because of the alcohol. It was just manifested by way of the alcohol and my own idiocy. But no, we got choices. Everything was a choice. And that's why it's important, in my opinion, not to forget what you've done or who you've been, but rather reflect. You know, remember and embrace where you're from, your own personal heritage, because it tells you a lot about how you make decisions, how you have made decisions in the past, you know, and perhaps the difference, the disparity between that and how you make decisions now.